Hey music lover, welcome on into the second video. Thanks for checking this out. If you haven't checked out video 1, that's where we talked about the music lover ecosystem, music lover journey, what it means to be a music lover, where music came from essentially, and why we respond to it so strongly. Why I believe it's actually like a human need to connect with music. I might be biased because I'm a music lover and a musician, but I feel like to feel really connected to ourselves and our community, music is a really important part of that. And I lay all of that out in that first video. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. In this video, I'm going to talk a lot more about the direct to artist opportunity that exists in this day and age. And this I see as a bit of a response and a bit of an answer to the last couple of decades of music not feeling that exciting, or as a music lover feeling a bit more disconnected from music, and that it's all just digital and it's just streaming and it's just social media snippets. And as a music lover, I've found a lot of that unfulfilling. So the next phase of that is really this direct to artist connection, and that's rejuvenates this music lover ecosystem. So in this video, I'm going to share the journey of how I've come to sort of understand that, because it's taken me a little while to figure out. And then I'm going to share the 3 models that exist to do that. I'm going to share the good, the bad, the ugly, my own experiences with it. And then I'm also going to share the next level of this. I think about what is sort of available at the moment is kind of version 1.0. That's our first attempt at sort of creating this direct to artist connection. But there is a new version of it coming, and I think it's super exciting, and it's the dream, and we have everything we need to actually create it. So it's super exciting. It's there just waiting for us to do it, essentially. So with all that in mind, I want to share this idea of direct to artist, what it really means, where it came from, and how I've come to understand it. So it all really started for me when I came across this blog post that was written in 2008 called ℳ𝒾𝒿ℴ. And it was written by Kevin Kelly. And in it, he talks about this deep connection that we're going to be able to have, personalized experiences, music experiences, customized songs, more interaction with the artist, a kind of collaboration with the artist, being able to support the artist directly to do what they want to do, and those funds going to the artist rather than to the old guard of the label and the radio stations and the publicist and the promoter and all of those middlemen that get sort of between the music lover and the artist. So when I read this, I was like, this is a really cool, exciting opportunity that we have now because of the internet. You can connect with anyone, anywhere, at any time, and you can find music that is outside the mainstream, and it's music that you love, but you wouldn't find it any other way. So there's this really cool opportunity that was sort of articulated in that essay called ℳ𝒾𝒿ℴ. Step 2 of this was when Amanda Palmer did a Kickstarter campaign in 2012, and she raised $1.2 million directly from her fans. So this was pretty paradigm shifting, because it was the first time that as a music lover, you had access to an artist that you could support directly, and they would get all of the funds, and then they would go and create this amazing thing, and you would have access to it first, and you would have a limited edition aspects to it, and this artist connection thing was super exciting, something that you couldn't do in the old world, pre-internet, wasn't really available. So what this enabled her to do was bypass any label process at all and create whatever she wanted to create and give that directly to her fans. So super exciting. The third step of this was for me to try out these new models that existed. So the first one I tried out was a crowdfunding of my album Golden Moment. So that campaign, I raised $5,000 over 30 days by a group of supporters and fans. And in return, what they got was a limited edition pressing of the CD, personalized notes, signed copies of that, merch packs, all this cool stuff that they were able to support me directly. And they got all this really cool stuff up front before it was released publicly. Basically, they got a front row seat and got all the cool merch stuff. And also the thing that they got was the feeling that they were supporting me directly and that they were seeing the tangible result of that. Rather than if you buy an album from a huge artist, that artist might get $1 from your $20 purchase of that thing. In this, there was a possibility of them supporting me directly. Then the next stage of this was the idea of an ongoing support and subscription idea of supporting an artist. And this first, I got the idea for this. Well, the idea was triggered because a friend of mine set up this website called Pay the Band. And in that, what you could do is if you had streamed someone's music or you ripped their CD or you downloaded it free from the internet or you borrowed it from a friend or whatever, but you loved the album, but you never paid for it, you could go to this website and you could pay them directly and they would get 100% of the funds. So again, rather than them getting $1, they would get $10 or $20. And that made me think, wow, that's a really cool, very efficient way for a fan support an artist that they love and for the artist to reap the full rewards of that contribution rather than, again, like a middleman getting in the way and taking a huge slice out of it. So that got me thinking about Patreon and Bandcamp that both have this subscription model. And I didn't go too far down this track because I noticed a couple of things that weren't going to work. So I'm going to talk about that later. So now let's move on to the third experiment, which was live streaming on Twitch. So when lockdowns happened, all my gigs went to zero and I started live streaming on Twitch almost every day for 2 years. And through that experiment, I got to meet some amazing people from all over the world that I would never have reached any other way. And they had access to me as an artist that they never would have met any other way. So it was this really mind-opening idea that to distribute my music or whatever, I didn't just have to think about Melbourne and Sydney, but that this new paradigm included the entire world, which was super exciting. So that's what I ended up doing. And the positives of all of those really were the financial part is like hugely positive, but it was the fan connection and the community support and the community interacting with each other and the collaborations that came out and the feeling that this music ecosystem was being restored and people were having a much richer, deeper experience of music and something that they had missed for a really long time. So that was the positives. Now let's go to the bad and ugly parts of Good, Bad and Ugly. So the downsides of experimenting with these platforms was something that I noticed across all of them was that there's always a middleman. So the promise of the internet was that you were going to be able to go direct to artist. But in these new models, there's always someone in the middle. There's always the platform, there's always a software, there's always like a transaction fee, there's a platform fee. So as an example, with my Possible campaign where I raised $5,000, by the time I had finished with the platform fee, transaction fee, tax, producing the CDs and the merch, shipping everything out, spending a month sort of getting it all happening and spending a lot of time doing that, I essentially broke even. So at the end of it, it was an amazing campaign. I'm super grateful to everyone that contributed, and everyone got something really cool out of it. And I got to release my album. But at the end, I sort of was back to ground zero. There was nothing sort of left over for me to sort of then carry on with. That's what leads me to the second part, which is a subscription idea. I thought, okay, this was like a one-off sort of injection of excitement, but to be an artist and continue to make stuff, what is required is like this foundation of consistent income coming in. And that is really where the subscription model comes in. But what I noticed with Patreon and with the Bandcamp subscription is that they also, again, take a middleman fee. So Patreon takes 12% fee, Bandcamp takes 15% fee, and by the time you pay that and the processing fee and then tax on that, as a music lover, a $10 subscription, maybe $7 of it reaches the artist, which is still pretty good, but there's also limitations in what you can do. When it comes to Twitch, with a $10 subscription on Twitch, they take 50% straight away. The artist gets half of it. And again, that's a huge slice taken out. So compared to the pay the band idea, which is you send an artist $10 and they receive $10, these other platforms were sort of interjecting themselves into this process. And I just kept finding that at every sort of turn that I was trying these new platforms and things. I was like, they seem to just be like taking a huge chunk of what the music lover is contributing and transporting it with a really leaky bucket that, and then the music lover just gets a little bit of whatever's left over. Even though the entire system revolves around what the musician creates and what the music lover pays into it. And then the middlemen sort of, again, are just extracting the value. So when it comes to thinking about this awesome new dream that we had, the possibility of like direct to artist support, I was like, oh my God, it's so exciting. But then when you start to look under the hood, you realize, okay, this is our first attempt at it. This is version 1.0 and it's pretty good, but there's got to be ways for this to work even better. So that's what I want to explore in the next video. And I have to say that I'm actually super excited about the future of direct to artist connection, because we live in a time now where we have the technology, we have everything in place for artists to set themselves up in a way where, as a music lover, you can connect with them, you can have really unique experiences with them, and all of the different platforms that have existed, so just say crowdfunding or the subscription model or live streaming or community engagement where you can interact with the other music lovers that are supporting this artist, they've all been in these different places. And as you can tell, I've thought about this a lot as a music lover and as a musician. And the thing that's coming next is version 2.0. And without going into too much detail right now, all I can say is there is this new model that is coming together that is a huge improvement over version 1.0. And I won't go into it because I'm going to go into it fully in the next video. I'm going to lay out every aspect of it, what's awesome about it, all the different ways that we've plugged up the holes so there's no leaky bucket, the way that we can optimize the artist and the music lover experience so there's a deeper connection. There's a deeper connection between the music lover community, how it's efficient that when the music lover contributes $10, all of it lands with the artist. And I'm actually super excited about sharing this because it is a thing that's coming and I've been thinking about this for such a long time and it's here. It has arrived. So that's what's coming in the next video coming out in a couple of days, so keep an eye on that. In the meantime, as we wrap up here, I would love to hear from you if you have experienced any of these models yourself as a music lover or as a musician. If you're watching this, I would love to know your experience of how it all went. So have you supported artists directly? What worked, what didn't? And what would you love as a music lover to deepen your connection to an artist? What would be something that just is mind-blowing for you? So your stories really shape the future, and they shape how this video series is coming together. I know I'm talking fast and giving you a lot of info here, so I would love for you to now speak to me in the comment section below. Share your experiences. I'm looking forward to reading them. Next video coming out in a couple of days. Thanks for everything, and big love. See you in the next video. Bye for now.